I'd like to call this regular council meeting to our February 14th. Please stand. Silence. Please salute the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lutz?
Here.
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 Rodriguez? Mr. Musi? Mr. Sabatini?
Here.
Mr. Plensky?
Here.
Mr. DiGiuseppe?
Okay, at this time, I'm going to open up public participation. Anybody on this side of the room would like to speak on anything at this time, please up to the podium and state your name. Anybody on this side of the room like to speak on anything?
As Kelly states, I live at Taft Street in Bristol. I've been a Bristol resident for about 13 years. I just wanted to ask the council about the dog leash law that's proposed for this evening. And in reviewing it, my husband and I walk our dog every morning and most evenings in the borough, and it's a wonderful place to walk our dog. And like hundreds of other thousands of other residents across the country, we use a retractable leash that can go up to 16 feet in length. And we keep our dog under control if we're able to retract it to 6 feet when necessary, and we don't bother other residents or other dogs that are walking past. And so I thought I would ask the council for some flexibility in the wording of the ordinance to allow for this type of leash.
Well, I think what the ordinance reads is 6 foot. I think if you're in a congested area walking on the path and your dog's more than 6 foot and somebody complains, I guess that will create an issue. I think if you're walking your dog with your husband and nobody's around and your dog went to 8 feet, I'm not saying that, I mean, you're going to have to use your own judgment on that. We had some people asking council to shorten it to 3 foot. That's how they are of walking with dogs. So, I don't know. I mean, I have my wife use a retractable leash.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm just trying to avoid a situation where, again, like you
No, I
said,
understand.
there's no one around, but, a animal control officer or a police officer decides that it doesn't meet the
I think that we're going to be out like, pursuing this like we're looking for, I think we're trying to get everybody to comply, put their dog on a leash, and
understood, but, I would argue that the language of the ordinance doesn't speak to that.
Chief, I'm sure your officers will use discretion.
Yes.
So is that a good
Thank you.
way to end it? Anybody else on this side of the room would like to comment on anything? Okay. Public participation.
Okay. Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes of January 10th, January 17th, I'm going backwards, February 7th. I'd like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report for December, accept the police and DJ's report for January, accept fire chief's report for January, accept borough inspector's report for January, and accept the HARB report for February the 7th.
I have a second. Second by Mr. Sabatini. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 3.
Mr. President, I'd like to adopt an ordinance adopting a leash law ordinance.
I have a second.
I'll do it.
Second by Mrs. Cullen. Any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number Number 4.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion accepting the land development time extension request for Walmart Supercenter expansion to March 18th, 2011.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Musey. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before we adjourn, Mayor, you have anything?
No, not at this time.
Mr. Chairman, under others, when you're finished,
Yes.
there was an article in the paper last week, upset me and concerned me a lot about how it affected the people in this town. The Philadelphia District Attorney arrested 5 individuals for sexual misconduct. 4 were priests. Fifth person was a teacher who resided in Bristol. I would like this council to spend some time at the next work session reviewing Megan's Law, and I'll be specific for our solicitor. Under Megan's Law, and I downloaded this a couple days ago, it said that an offender may be restricted from residing near a school, park, daycare center under one of the following circumstances. And those circumstances dealt with if the municipality enacted an ordinance which made those restrictions. So I think it's worth discussing at the next work session. I really want to get into Megan's Law. I want to get into notification. We have sexual predators in this town that
I think not,
there's too many people that don't know that they're living here. A lot of small children in my ward and all over town.
I disagree. I think that, Chief, you could correct me if I'm wrong, anybody on Megan's Law you're aware of, you get a report on anybody else. There's different levels of Megan's Law. And when there's a sex offender in the area, the police department is definitely notified. Am I correct? So they're aware of all that, Jimmy.
They're aware of it. Do they notify the residents?
Only on violent predators.
There's different levels of Megan's Law, Jimmy. You just
I know,
can't.
one is 10 years or less, and one is...
But I'm saying, I mean, just
I
to
read it.
let you know that if there's somebody in this town that's a threat to society or to a neighbor, the chief will definitely notify the people in that area. Am I correct, Arnie?
Yes, we're notified when they fall in the class of a violent predator, and then we make the notifications, correct.
But if I understand this correct, Chief, the way it's written, they could live next to a school, a daycare, a playground, any place where there's small children, these people can live?
No, we have a local ordinance that covers that.
We have an ordinance. That's the point that I'm trying to make. Do we have an ordinance on the books, Mr. Solicitor? Okay, I just want to review it. I want to look at it for next
I
month.
thought you were stating we didn't have one.
Pardon me?
I thought you were stating we didn't have one and we needed one.
No, what I tried to say here was that we can't restrict if they live near a school unless we have the ordinance.
Okay, and we do have one.
We have it?
Yes.
We have it. All right, would you give me a copy, Chief? Bill, would you give me a copy?
Yeah, it's in the ordinances.
Good.
Right, okay.
I'd like to see it.
The thing that just happened, this man was charged, not convicted.
That's true.
So we still
Innocent
need,
proven guilty.
And he lived
right,
there,
what I'm saying is, I mean, because he was, somebody can get arrested tomorrow, that doesn't mean we're not doing our job.
Okay. Now, let me ask this question. Let's assume now that he's convicted.
It all depends what Arnie, you explained that, what the violation is.
If he falls into the category of a violent predator, Megan's Law prescribes that the area and neighborhoods and schools have to be notified. Other than that, if you're on Megan's list and you're not a violent predator, those notifications do not have to be made.
Okay.
we can
So
find him.
he's charged with rape. That's violent, right? Now, under the ordinance that we passed regarding tenants, and we made landlords or owners responsible for their tenants. We passed that about a year ago? Does this fall under that?
We didn't make landlords responsible.
Pardon?
We didn't make them responsible for tenants. We have an ordinance that provides if there's 3 disorderly conducts at that particular address, then we can pull the landlord's permit. It has to be 3 disorderly conducts.
Here's my point. If he's found guilty, can we force him to move?
No.
We can't. He's allowed to stay in the neighborhood.
First of all, as the chief
He'll go to
said,
jail.
Well, if he's guilty, he's going to jail.
we're not probably going to see that guy. But all sexual offenses do not necessarily fall under Megan's law. So that has to be determined.
Well,
I mean, none of us, I think, sitting here wants to deal with any of this in our town. Let's put it that way. I mean, we're not, open to people living, there's nothing we really can do unless they fall under a different violation or a different section of Megan's law. I don't think anybody
well,
wants...
if he's found guilty, and he's allowed to live on the same street where he lives now, well, that can't happen. It's kind of a moot point. If he's found guilty, he's going to jail.
He's going to jail.
But even I don't know. I don't think he has a previous record.
Pardon me?
I'm not happy with it, Ralph. I don't like the way it's worded. At some point in time, I think we need to take another look at it. That's all I'm saying. I don't want him on the street.
I'm not suggesting that this council break the law.
Pardon me?
I'm not suggesting the council break the law.
Not at all.
Okay, let's look at it when it happens. But
All right, well, we'll look at this again.
Megan's law is intended to inform people and kind of keep those convicted people out of harm's way. But as far as just saying you can't live in our town, obviously we can't do that, because if we could do it, everybody could do it.
All right, can we say you can't live near a playground? Can we say you can't live near a school?
I'm not sure we can. I have to look at the ordinance, but let's...
Well, that's what I want to do.
Let's take one step at a time. He hasn't even been convicted yet. And chances are, if he is convicted, he's going to go away for a long time.
I hope so. That's all I have.
Okay. Just to let everybody know, council and everybody at home, we're coming up on our warranty on the roads that were done. I think I left it in the other room. Yeah, our 2009 road program resurfacing and restoration project. The borough required the contractor to put up a maintenance bond of 15%. As of, it's 18 months since the roads were completed. So we are now holding $298,087 from this contractor. We have to release that money effective June 1st, 2011. So what I'm asking council to do is maybe take a ride through your ward to make sure you don't see any defects or anything that needs to be addressed that we could handle, and you could report to the manager. Anybody at home on your own streets, maybe look at your street. If you see something that's wrong, please notify the borough, because our warranty will expire on June 1st, and we have to release this $298,000 to the contractor. So it's been 18 months, and which is good. June will be after the winter, after all the snow, and so hopefully everybody gets a good look at their street. We don't want you to come here in the middle of June saying, well, I have a sinkhole or I have something in my street and nobody ever took care of it. We can't be on every street. The borough workers, as they're riding around, they constantly look to see if anything's wrong, but everybody, that watches this show or whatever, maybe take 5 minutes and look at it and see if there's any issues. The other thing is the borough yard building we're moving forward with as far as going through land development and all the stage steps that have to be taken with the Bucks County Conservation District. So everything's moving forward. There's a zoning or planning board meeting? Zoning hearing board Wednesday night that the borough is going to, for zoning. So everything is moving forward in the direction that we're going to put this building up. Now, if the building never gets built there or whatever happens, but we're doing everything we can to keep this moving. That's a sketch of what the building, the configuration, the gas station, the parking and everything we put up today to show the council, and if any borough resident wants to stop in or after the meeting, if you want to view it, please feel free to do so. And we did have a meeting here, and what bothers me a little bit is that we called a special meeting to discuss this building, if anybody had any concerns, and then you always get these geniuses throughout town that have their own suggestions but don't show up at meetings, as far as maybe we can rent a building for 200 years, and it would cost $1,500 a month to rent this building, and it would be a lot cheaper. So, we hear all the people out there that have a lot to say, but they don't show up here to discuss it. If you have a building for $1,500 a month that you want the borough to rent, that's 12,000 or 10,000 square feet with an 18-foot high ceiling for 200 years, the manager would like to sign that lease tomorrow. If anybody wants to come in with their building that they suggested we rent. It's just, you're talking about people that I guess it's sad. And the last thing is today, Phillies and catchers, first day of spring training. We got the 4 aces and the joker. So hopefully, they're looking at winning at least 120 games. That's what they're projecting. So 120 game season. One sign it is that we know spring is coming. So hopefully we're done with the snow and the weather gets nice and our Phillies do good this year.
On that note, I want to say something. Little League sign-up is every Sunday between 12 and 3 at Memorial Field Press Box. Tim Duger would be available at that time to discuss if you're having any financial difficulties. We want all children in the town to play, even if you are having financial difficulties. There's a whole bunch of things that we're doing to defer the costs, buying tickets, working in concession stand. So please sign your kids up between 12 and 3 every Sunday, Little League Press Box. Thank you.
Is that it? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.